Arising from a meeting held in Kaduna State on June 18, 2017 by the youths of northern Nigeria under the aegis of Arewa Youth Forum, issued a quit notice to Biafrans which they tagged Kaduna Declaration, urging Biafrans resident in all parts of northern Nigeria to vacate the region within 3 months with its expiration on October 1, 2017. This declaration was made barely few weeks after the massively complied and successful sit-at-home directives as given by the leader of indigenous people of Biafra Marzi Nnamdi Kanu, where Biafrans were urged to sit at home in respect to the fallen heroes of Biafra on May 30, 2017. The huge success recorded by that singular exercise was not unconnected to the glaring frustration being vented out by the Arewa nation through their youths which gave rise to the Kaduna Declaration, but not without the blessing and full support of northern politicians, elites, and elders. The wave of Biafra restoration reverberating everywhere around the world has started penetrating and manifesting in all facets of the Nigerian state, especially in the Nigerian seat of power and the northern Islamic states. Recently, many groups from northern Nigeria have in one way or another expressed their fears and disaffection to the inextinguishable inferno called Biafra Restoration Movement. The coalition of northern groups in their continuous dance of shame have urged the United Nations to proscribe the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, a terror group, institute a criminal action against Marzi Nnamdi Kanu, the supreme leader of IPOB, and as well provide modalities for an internationally organized and monitored referendum for Biafrans to decide their future in the contracted Nigerian state. It is beyond my ken to this hypocritical stance of northerners with regards to the way the Biafra question should be addressed. Terrorism, they say, is the calculated use of violence or threat of violence against any civilian in order to attain goals, which is done through intimidation or coercion. It can also be seen as an unofficial or unauthorized use of violence or intimidation in pursuit of political aims. With this precise definition of what terrorism means, no sane human being will as a matter of reality proscribe or tag the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, a terrorist organization. For avoidance of doubt, the indigenous people of Biafra is a people, not a group. Biafra is a nation and her citizens are referred to as the indigenes of Biafra. The people of Biafra are the indigenous owners of the land of Biafra, therefore, it is only a group of mischief makers that are bereft of the tenets of modern way of freedom fighting will proffer proscribing IPOB and her leader terrorists, as a solution to the seemingly raging and unquenchable wave of Biafra restoration project. Is it not rather hypocritical to urge the United Nations to set up modalities for Biafra referendum and at the same time ask UN to tag the people championing the cause a terror group without empirical evidence to substantiate the claims? It is now of essence to make an unmistakable clarification as regard to who should be proscribed terrorists between IPOB and others championing different causes from different fronts in Nigeria, in a bid to differentiating one from the other. Firstly, it is sacrilegious for any sane Homo sapiens to approximate IPOB with Fulani invaders and Boko boys. While they are fighting for a cause different from each other's ideology, the former with all the realities, empirical evidences and her modus operandi is operating within the ambits of the law of the land backed by various international treaties and laws, and the latter is a bunch of Islamic extremists who believes that modern education is haram, abomination, and yet the Fulani herders also believes that the lives of their cows are sacred than that of human. The latter with their antecedents and mode of operation have glaringly shown how deadly and evil they are. While the former have not killed anyone or engaged the military in any gun battle, rather, they have been imprisoned, killed, maimed, butchered in the church premises while holding prayers for fallen heroes, gifted with raw acid, even many were kidnapped and taken to an unknown destinations probably for summary execution or assassination. The latter have not only engaged the military apparatus on gun battles but have killed many military men and made away with their gadgets, weapons, and other military equipments. The Boko Haram terrorists have killed uncountable number of innocent civilian citizens wantonly with little or no efforts by the state to contain their menace. They have also embarked on indiscriminate destruction of properties, yet the northern elites and the Nigerian state are still paying lip service to such barbarity. With the above clarification, how can the United Nations proscribe IPOB, a terror group? Lest I forget, the activities and operations of Fulani herdsmen masquerading as cow rearers that roams around many cities and villages with their cow is another thing that poses threat to humanity. The Fulani herdsmen invade towns and villages, kill, maim, and rape women and young girls with reckless abandon. They destroy and ravage farms and farm products beyond repair. Yet the government has not taken any swift action against them. In spite of the atrocities being carried out by these savages, none of them has been apprehended, prosecuted, or even made to face the law in any shape or form. It is worthy to note at this juncture, that both Boko Haram and Fulani herdsmen have been designated by the World International Terrorism Index, as the first and fourth world most deadly terror group ever existed, respectively. Therefore, urging the United Nations, UN, to tag the indigenous people of Biafra a terrorists organization is not only being biased, juvenile, but also it is empirically unsubstantiable, hence should be discountenanced and disregarded. It is expedient to remind the Northerners that Biafra is legitimate, and the cause for her restoration is not just legal but has international backing with various treaties and laws. The United Nations also acknowledges the rights of the indigenous people to self-governance, which is enshrined in their charter, and Nigeria as a member nation is signatory to it. The Arewa nation should consult their supposedly learned judge, Justice Binta Nyako, who is incidentally presiding over the court case between the leader of indigenous people of Biafra Marzi Nnamdi Kanu, his co-defendants, and the Nigerian government, who defied Buhari's order and threat to acknowledge and pronounced Biafra and indigenous people of Biafra legal. It is on record today that hundreds, if not thousands, of Biafran youth have been killed by joint Nigerian forces countless times, albeit state-sponsored. There are many pictorial and video evidences to buttress and substantiate this claims. Amnesty International and Inter-Society for Civil Liberty have documentaries readily available as evidences. However, while we vehemently condemn the call by the coalition of northern groups for the United Nations to proscribe IPOB a terror group, we also applaud their call for a United Nations organized and monitored referendum for Biafran people, and we urge them to keep the tempo high and maximally heighten this call proactively. Though the insincerity of this call is not hidden because it is fully felt by discerning minds world over. Demanding a criminal action against Marzi Nnamdi Kanu instead of engaging him in an open debate is a show of crass ignorance to the rudiments of self-determination. Although when Nnamdi Kanu said he will destroy Nigeria with truth, they thought it was with armories, hence tagged it treasonable felony, levying war with guns and bullets against the state so as to ouster the existing government. How shallow-minded they really are. Our war youths are thereby urged to visit the past speeches of Gen. Muhammadu Buhari in 2011, where he said, if what happened again 2011, alleged rigging, should happen again in 2015, by the grace of God, dog, and baboons, will be soaked in blood. Is that not a treasonous statement? Even the Kaduna Declaration by the Arewa youths is a treasonable offense. The earlier these people from northern Nigeria wake up to face the reality on ground, the better for them, because no amount of threat will deter a people who are determined to pursuing a justified cause to restoring their dignity as humans, and no violence incitement will stop an ideology whose time has come. It is now time to bring to the consciousness of humanity the latest atrocity of the Nigerian security apparatus, which is the indiscriminate and secret abduction of Biafran youths from their homes, marketplaces, and in the streets of Biafraland, and the demand for ransom. Biafrans have now become a trade in exchange for money and prey in the hands of the predators, which are the Nigerian military. Biafrans have once again become endangered species in their own land. I hereby urge all well-meaning Biafrans to dissociate themselves from voting in any Nigerian organized elections. A directive has been issued for boycott of election in all parts of Biafra land, beginning with the slated Anambra State gubernatorial election of November 18, 2017. It is a civil disobedience which is an embodiment of democracy and will boost the Biafra restoration project. Hashtag boycott Anambra State Guber election for Biafra to come.